So we're going to talk a little bit about resiliency in your health and fitness pursuits. So I've been a trainer for, it's been about 6 years or so, maybe seven, I'm not too sure actually. But I've been physically active, very physically active for a pretty good portion of my life. In some cases that's been work, but in a lot of cases, going far back, it was martial arts. And then eventually I got into like gym life and everything related to that. My dog Lucy's a little noisy right now. Lucy, we're shooting a video. Shush, go lay down. Okay, sorry. So over the years, as I've gotten into this like exercise science type of thing and pursuing like this method versus that method, what works for me, what works for clients, for myself personally, what really defines the path, that's really the mile markers in that, is you're constantly reevaluating things. You're constantly going, okay, well, I've been doing this for 2 weeks, and this isn't quite fitting with everything I got going on. So I might taper this or adjust that or add or subtract these components. You're constantly investigating different methods, different things. Okay, it might be having to do with nutrition or sleep schedule or exercises or workout routine in general. Maybe even your music playlist for what gets you pumped when you exercise. My point is that if every single time I reached a point where something wasn't quite agreeing or quite producing the results that I wanted, if I let that persuade me to give up, there would be so much that I would never have learned along the way. So one thing is, don't consider these obstacles that you may encounter as abnormal aspects of failure. They're actually part of the process. And I don't want to go down a super cliche path of being like, if you have to fail, like everyone has heard these really motivational and true statements. But it's not an abnormal thing. That's actually part of the process. It's a constant reevaluating of what it is you're doing. Okay? A constant reinvention of different methods that you're gonna bring into your arsenal to implement. And you're gonna find too that like you can't really judge on for example, you might start like a program and be super motivated, super just like, let's do this, and doing like 2 workouts a day might be easy because you're just on fire. But then as the weeks drag on, you start to like kind of need like a deload week, it need a decompression time. And so you think, well, that's not in the program for whatever reason, and I can't do that, and yada, yada, yada. Well, what we do is far more organic and fluid than we give it credit for. We always try to apply these very rigid methods, and that can be useful, but if it's not useful, it's pointless because there's no reason for it other than for it to help us. So numbers are there, for example, to track progress and to confirm to yourself that you're going in the right direction, or to know that you're not and to be able to reevaluate. They're not something to be emotionally attached to. That isn't the direction you want to go. That's not going to lead you to wellness. That's going to lead to disappointment. Okay? A good example is like breathing exercises. Like you can do breathing exercises one day and just feel like, wow, this is amazing. I feel very centered. I feel very calm, very tranquil. Man, this is what to expect every time. The second it stops feeling like that, if you don't allow that to make you quit, you're going to experience something similar than you did before. But if you just immediately give up, nope, this isn't for me. I don't like it. It's not working anymore. And you just have that mentality. You're always going to be you're going to be putting more effort towards sabotaging yourself actually than you are going to taking a realistic account of how things are. Some days you're going to go out and run 1 mile and perhaps it will feel amazing. You'll feel alive. You'll feel motivated. You'll feel all these good things. And then some days you're going to go out and run that mile and it's going to suck. and you're going to hate it. And maybe you won't even do a mile. Maybe your knee will start to agitate you. You'll do less. Now, to think that that is less organic than the good experience is a mistake. All that is part of the process. So if most of the time, what I've seen with people who don't achieve their goals, okay, which is a dark subject to talk about, and to say the least. What it is every time they encounter adversity in what they're doing, they use that as a cue to stop. And maybe they do change things up, but they do it like a month later. And then they're kind of just back to the drawing board all the time. You got to get off this, mentality of this is going to work every single week, all the time. Everything is going to be like clockwork. Otherwise, it's a waste of my time. No, constantly quitting is a waste of your time. So it's important to remember to give yourself some grace on some things. You're not going to have a great day every day. You're going to have struggles. You just simply aspire to be better than you were the day before. But you realize that perfection is, for us humans on this planet Earth, is an unattainable thing. We attempt to strive towards this standard, but we acknowledge that in humility that we're not perfect. We're not going to be the best. We're not going to be the best at lifting weights. We're not going to be the best at running all the time. It's going to be impossible. And to always kind of hold yourself to this impossible standard all the time and to use that as an indicator to continue along is really a silly notion, but one that we all can find ourselves trapped in. So that is the thing I would tell you, is that realize that your fitness and health journey, okay, towards wellness, happiness, attaining maybe specific goals, all these things are just a end game towards maybe at a process, okay? And that process is a constant exploration. You are exploring. Some days you'll stretch and it'll feel great. You'll feel compelled to explore why that is. Some days when you go to stretch, it'll suck. Apply the same method. Explore why it does. Be okay that it does. If you stretch out or work out or whatever for 100% of this session, and only 2 minutes out of that 60-minute session, there is this kind of light bulb that goes off, you feel good, you feel energized. It doesn't matter that it's only 2 minutes. We try to apply quantity to quality all the time. And it's part of our conditioning. It's because we are so used to using clocks, telling time, to define everything, that we allow it to kind of force all of this, all these notions into a time constraint. So like if I work out for 1 hour, 1 hour of it should be amazing and awesome. You can't confine experiences, significant experiences, to a certain amount of time. You can't say, if you think about some of the most important moments in your life, they might not have lasted for longer than, a mere moment. You have to give yourself this grace that part of the process is going to be stumbling. That's okay. But don't allow that stumbling to be this alien experience that is a derailment from your path. Your path is literally about losing your balance a little bit and regaining it. And that is what is going to get you the most miles. And that brings me to the next thing, which is a subject for probably another time, but motivation is probably the most overvalued thing that I see in our society. Passion is important and things like that. Motivation can be great, but motivation is essentially an emotion. So for example, if you had a job and you only went to work when you were motivated, you wanted to go to work, you would probably keep your job very long, to be honest with you. If you just, I don't really feel motivated to go to work, so I'm not. You're probably going to lose your job. Okay. Now, in the gym environment, in the workout environment, health and fitness, it's the same way, except we're our own bosses. And what we do is we do enough no call, no shows, and then we fire ourselves. Okay. That is the same mentality. You're relying on this motivation, and a motivation can help you. And when the stars align and you're going in to do the thing that you do even when you don't want to, and then everything just works out perfect. You're motivated. You're on fire. Lucy, no barking. Not right now. That is just kind of a perfect world scenario. So, but that's not going to happen all the time. And having the grit to do it and work out and to eat the way that you're planning on eating, even when you don't want to, is going to get you the most miles and get you to your goal. So hopefully this has been helpful. Have a very good day.